So he's looking at last year.
We're live, Greg.
Hey.
I've been playing Mario Kart with my son. Hopefully this isn't too loud. Let me know if this is too loud.
That's good.
There, that's our new live intro. That's actually from 64. We've been playing it on the Nintendo Switch too, but glad he got paid.
Yeah, it was nice. Just he finally paid me, and then there was some. He had me stop mowing one lawn, but I'd already mowed it a little bit, and he says, "Well, how much do I owe you?" I said, "Well, show me the invoices," and he said, "Well, I can't find them." I said, "All right, just pay me this right now, and then I'll have to go back and figure it out." And he said, "Okay." So, and I said, we'll square up on next month, or either you'll owe me or I'll owe you." So, I'm sorry.
It's like he's cheaping out on you or something.
No, he didn't have the invoices in front of him, couldn't find them. So, I had a ballpark idea of what he owed me, so I just told him to go ahead and pay me this much, and then I'll figure out the difference.
Don't you like when the clients lose the invoices and then make you send it again? It's like, oh, I couldn't find it in the email. It's like, okay, come on.
I did have one that they paid me, and then they said, well, I said, well, I need to pick up my June payment. And I said, well, I never got the invoice. I said, well, I sent you the May and the June invoice in the same email. And they never followed. They never commented on it. They just, the following week I got there and they had the check taped to the door. So, but it was kind of funny that they never acknowledged the fact that I had already sent it to them.
I never understood it. I know people on Yardbook, Greg, they get the invoice, but they try to play it off that they didn't to try to stall for an extra month of not having to pay. You ever had that?
No, I don't let them go that far. I just say, well, here it is. It's due now. And I've never really had anybody. I've only had a couple of people not pay me for, they basically said I didn't mow when I did. And I said, all right, we're done. And I mowed your lawn.
Sayonara.
Yeah, I mowed your lawn on these dates, and you're telling me I'm lying to you, so you're calling me a liar. I don't like it when people call me a liar, so we're done. Because they said they weren't going to pay me. I said, all right, that's fine. You don't have to pay me, but I probably shouldn't even tell them that we're done. I should probably just not show up and say, oh, no, I mowed it.
Right. So we'll be invoicing for July here soon. And, that one client that basically wanted me to give the exact dates. I'm looking forward to if they're going to try to challenge me on that. Like, oh boy.
Yeah. So did you put down the exact dates? Were you there on those specific? I'm sorry. Were you there on? Did you put down the Thursday date even if you were supposed to be there on the Wednesday?
Well, when I'll be
sending this out
here, I'll be sending this out in July. So next week I'm getting the exact dates, and they all fluctuate between like 9 and then 6 days. So we'll figure out what they do with that one, right?
Wow, they between 9 and 6 days. Yeah, that's different.
Well, because
because of the rain, and you were out of town,
but then now we're basically all caught up, and I mean nothing really today for me was growing that crazy. Honestly, it's like not that bad.
I've still got a couple of long lawns. I'm looking at them going, wow, I just don't get this.
Well, it's not bad. Rather have them long than not.
Yeah, and they were green, so I got that going for me. But
I can't knock you on that. I mean, they're long. They're green.
Yeah. Well, I picked up a new client today, and they were
really.
And here's why you're nice to people. I mow a church, and I mow 3 properties on the corner. And in the meantime, there's this condo that's being built, and I've gotten to know the superintendent of the project. We just get to chatting and stuff, and then a couple weeks ago he says, "Hey, give me your card. They need to have somebody mow." And so I gave him my card, and last week the lady reached out to me and said, "Okay, we got sod in. Can you mow?" And so I picked up a new client today. So that was actually, there's nowhere to blow grass. It's just
It's like, where do you put it?
it's such a small spot. There's nowhere to blow the grass, and I talked to the guy and I said, "Look, there's nowhere to blow the grass." He says, "I guess you're going to have to pick it up." And I said, "Well, all right."
No,
So,
not
but
picking it up.
well, it's not a ton of grass to pick up, but I'm going to charge him for it. So, and it's an easy mow. Actually, today I just trimmed it because it was new sod. And I tell you what, this guy did a great sodding job. I seen no
Oh, did he?
seams. Yeah, there were no seams in that. So
That's tough.
I was impressed.
Aaron
So,
Sutter is suffering from Monesia. I think we've all been there, Greg, haven't we?
yes, it's an interesting experience to have
Huh?
amnesia.
Who? Right?
Yeah, yeah. But no, so I picked up a new guy, and then I was running late tonight because one of my other clients, and they mowed behind the property, and not his property, but the property behind his, and they just left grass everywhere. It's one of my
Oh, man.
one of my rentals, one of the guys that I do his rentals, and he's got a three properties right next door to each other, and they mowed. The grass was really long, and they just cut it high and left just bunches of grass around. And so the guy asked me to. He says, "Can you mow that over?" And I said, "I'm not going in there."
I wouldn't know.
I said, I just put new blades on my mower, and I don't know what's in there." So I said, "What I could do is I could blow it for you." And because
Blow
there was a
around.
bunch of grass, so I blew the grass. I just blew the grass back. He says, "Well, how can I do this back further?" And I said, "Well, I'll just blow it back for you." And so it worked, but it was 20, 25 minutes for me to do that job. So I was running behind. Plus, like I said, picking up the new client, so I was about an hour behind today.
And then you knocked out some yesterday afternoon after we recorded our show, didn't you?
Yeah, I went out and mowed two lawns just to get them out of the way. They weren't too long, and then I changed blades, changed oil, and did a couple other things on the mower. So I was busy yesterday.
Well, it's good to be busy rather than not. And so it's going to be on here on the live, Greg, and people may be asking, what's the title called? Do this one thing. Doing this one. I can't even read my own title. Doing this one thing saved a ton of money. So finally, I got done early last week. I was done mowing before noon on Fridays because I had my brother. He's moved back in town, so he's helping me mow 2 days a week. Then I had my buddy Rocky come in and help me. And the truck needed an oil change, and my buddy Alex came out. I've mentioned him before. He worked on my truck when needed some work in the back end a couple of years ago at Gerber Collision out there in Lansing, but then he moved to a Haslam. Long story short, he came out and showed me how to change oil on the truck, and I'm saving over for like $50 basically.
Well, how much oil does yours take? Is it 5 quarts or?
It takes 7 quarts.
Okay, yeah, mine is 7 quarts as well. So, and I'm trying
It
to think
takes 7, and those guys were only filling up to 5.
They were only filling up to 5.
Because when we emptied it, we only got 5 quarts.
Wow, and they were charging you for 7.
Basically, yeah. And I think they're a good place, but it was like 80. They were charging me $89 for a while, and then I think it's always been north of that since. I'm like, I'm just gonna change oil on my truck. It's absolutely simple. It's almost easier than changing it on the mower. It basically is a filter, then a little plug. It's a screw.
Yeah,
So that's what I did. Worked out well.
yeah.
Told me how to do it. It was like $53.
That's not bad. I did the oil change on my cars. I've worked on those, and I was thinking of changing the oil on my car, and I go to this one place where they charge me like $28. I'm thinking, well, 5 quarts of oil by buying it by myself would cost me about $30
Oh yeah.
plus the oil filter. So because my son was saying, "Why don't you just change it yourself?" I said, "I can't do it any cheaper." As I just go up there, and plus the filter on 2 of our cars, I guess it's really hard to get to the filter. and because I hear the guys complaining all the time when they go to pull the filter off. They're always whining about it. So it's to me, hey, it's not worth dealing with. So
Ryan, shout out to Metro. He's asking if Rocky helped me for like 2 hours on Friday. Apparently, Ryan apparently was out spraying today, and it was his brother mowing alone. I thought Derek was supposed to call Rocky about having him come out. No, but yeah, Rock just helped me for 2 hours because I wanted to be done before. I wanted to get those bragging rights, Greg, to be done before noon on a Friday.
no, I was not done before noon. I finished mowing on Saturday, just because we had to go out somewhere, and so I just had to stop early on Friday to go. So, but hopefully I can get myself caught up here a little bit, and I'll be curious to see what my lawns look like tomorrow, because a couple of those
Are you still
long.
behind? Or, I mean, are you behind today?
No, I'm caught up, but I'm curious to see what my Tuesday lawns are going to look like, because they some of them, a couple of them get a little long, and then a couple of them. It's funny. I got two
Butcher it
lawns.
down.
I'm sorry.
When in doubt, butcher it down a little bit, right?
Oh. Well, I've got two lawns that they tend to get long, and on this cul-de-sac, and I got two other lawns on the same cul-de-sac that tend to be short. So I cut theirs higher, and I cut the other ones lower. So because I'm trying to get a little better growth out of these other lawns, and just not getting the growth. I'm cutting them higher, and they're just not growing.
That's why they're long, right?
No, the ones that are the ones that are not growing, I'm trying to cut long, and they're just not growing still. So
Do they water them?
I don't think they're watering enough, but they have to pay for their water, so they don't. And I think it's fairly expensive. So
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Greg, I don't water at my house, and you've seen my grass. I have it sprayed 4 times a year, and it's growing like I water it all the time. It's kind of frustrating. I'm like, stop growing.
I've got a couple of lawns like that, and my own lawn. I've been cutting a little bit higher just because I don't have my sprinklers on. So I just said, I'll just cut it higher. So what was it this weekend when I cut it at 4 inches.
Aaron says, grass here is growing like crazy. We got a bit of rain last week. The cloud seeding is keeping the lawn going. That
The cloud
oh,
seeding.
yeah. Yeah.
That's good, Aaron. But no, my lawns have been long. A couple of the ones I did today were pretty long. So, and one of them, two of them tonight were not very long. So I didn't have to. Actually, I raised the deck on those because if we don't get any rain this week, they'll be pretty dry next week. So
They calling in for storm chances possibly on Friday, but it's supposed to heat up, get
Yeah.
back into the 90s. That's fine with me. Have it bake. I honestly don't care anymore. Just have it rot out and bake. I can do other stuff. Yeah. Cameron
yeah.
Duncan says, about time. I mean, I'd rather just skip a few, but I really don't skip unless it's 100% brown. So I don't cut it that low where I could just skip a whole bunch, but I want to see them bake here a little bit. I tell my clients, Greg, hey, I'm your lawn care financial advisor. Here's how you save money. You're overwatering it. Water it less.
Yeah. The one of my accounts, I've been cutting them higher. His sprinklers broke on him last year, and he still hasn't gotten them fixed. And so I've just been cutting it at 4 inches. And I think last week I may have even cut it a little bit higher because it was starting to look a little brown. So I may have even cut it at 4 1/4, just because I'm trying to keep his lawn growing, and plus I don't want to skip it and have to miss a cut. So
Has someone ever complained at you for cutting it too short? Like, have they ever said,
No.
Greg, you scalped my lawn? I said, yeah, I don't think you have actually ever scalped someone's lawn.
I did have a guy get mad at me one time because he said I was, I would scalp his lawns in spots. What? And basically, how your deck will drop and you wind up scalping a spot, and he came out one time. He was mad, and he came out and said, Greg, you just started mowing, you already scalped it. And he's mad at me. I said, what are you talking about? And I
Makes
said,
me mad.
I've only made my first pass, and so I go out and look at what he's talking about, and I look at it and I said, yeah, it's because you got a hole right there, and my mower dropped, and that's why I scalped.
Man,
And
we could talk about
he didn't say anything.
lawn holes all the time, couldn't we? People get trees removed. So really just bring some topsoil with me and fill in these holes. But I've scalped a couple holes this year. Not bad, but it drives me nuts just to see the mower dig in there. I like to actually trim the holes out to have it like undulated end, Greg. So like you see all the flat grass and you see this nice little trimmed little
Mm-hmm.
like I guess indentation or hole area. That's where you can practice on your feathering with the trimming. I try to make it like really trimming, not scalp, but just give a nice little buzz cut. And I'm starting to fly on that Segway. I'm getting fast. I'm getting to the point where I was trying to get some air on it, Greg, like going up the curbs. Because if you like go up the curb and lean into it and kind of like, I guess almost spring your knees up, you can kind of get that Segway to almost get some air. I thought about maybe hopping off a curb, see how the shock absorption is, but I don't want to chance it because I don't want to, I'm fine now. I banged up my wrist, a couple weeks ago, but so far so good. Try to just get even faster there on the grass, and that's where you just have to get into that routine of going the same path, and you'll know where holes are. Speaking of holes, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in a Segway or walking. I've almost rolled my ankle walking around a couple of my lawns.
I've got a couple of lawns that are really bad, and one of them is terrible. I've asked the guy to fill in holes because they're big enough that, you know how it is when you hit a hole and you drop, and you leave your kidney back there, and
Oh yeah,
and but he's
Long
got
sound, I was-
multiple holes like that where you just drop, and it hurts. So
or there's the whole lawn, or do you guys ever run into the lawn that's just full of roots everywhere? Like there's roots, tree roots all over the place. That drives me kind of crazy too. A
yeah,
couple of them, forget it.
those are some of those maple trees, silver maples, right? And then the
Oh yeah,
and then the weeping willows. You get a lot of weeping willows that have those roots sticking up.
I hate the weeping willows because I mean we've talked about that before. They just they drop stuff all the time, and I don't like it.
No.
And not even big limbs; they're just small, like annoying stuff. So what I do when I had the gator blades on with the weeping willows, you could just really mulch everything up. I was getting to the point with some of the sticks, I just mulch it all up. Suck
Speaking of gator blades, I put on my gator blades this week.
Oh, did you?
Because the lawns are so long, or they've been so long. I put on gator blades, and I just said, I got to chop this stuff a little finer here in some cases. So, and I think the gator blades cut fairly well.
And you could do that combination, what we're doing, gator on the discharge and then 2 high lifts. So it's high lift, gator to kind of shred. Problem is when I was doing that, it would leave a really, really weird line because I think the gator blade, the Toro gator blade was thicker than the regular Toro high lift blade.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I just go all gators and figure what the heck, I might as well. Then I'll be consistent. But I just said, I'm going to throw some gators on, especially if the lawns are going to be long this week. So, but you know what I did is on that 52-inch, I went to pull blades to change them.
Yeah.
Oh, you should have seen one of the gouges on one of these blades.
Well, that's on you because I have that stock set. I would have not have done that. That's where I plead the fifth.
Yeah,
You can
no.
you can do it that one.
No, fortunately, I had another set of blades that I had purchased just in case. So I hit. You don't need gators with that 60 horsepower. No, you do not. The blades, I hit something. I don't remember what I hit, but it was the tip was gone.
Get rid of it.
A quarter inch. The tip was gone.
It was Garrett Bauer. You could probably try to grind it back in, but if that tip in that corner is really gone on it, you can't really do anything. I run him for 10 hours. I mean, he technically says, I mean, I love Garrett Bauer. Run time 8 to 12 hours. I do about 10 hours. Pull them off. Run my thumb. And also, what's kind of a hack though too, Greg. Say you're scraping the deck, you can kind of deburr the deck, or not deburr the underside of the blade. So I just take my like file and just kind of just barely run on the underside, just to get
Yeah.
like any of the nicks out. And that's what Garrett was even saying to do is, well, I mean, you pull them off 8 to 12 hours, but if you're scraping the deck, just kind of just slightly deburr, and that's been a big help.
So you're just leaving the blades on and then just deburring it while it's,
Yeah, because it's
or
not
you're
taking
doing
it
it when
like
you're sharpening. Okay.
yeah, because it's not taken out of balance. You can deburr with the Mag 8200 what I have, but that it's quite the finesse to do it. And I've been practicing on kind of older blades, but yeah, that's what you want to do is just have it. I would probably what I would do is I'd fully balance them, but then I'd deburr the underside, but then you'd have to balance them again. But mine are always spot on. Like my blades are never out of whack and out of balance, and I can tell the difference. I've put new Toro blades, Greg, on my Multiforce, and they don't send you these blades in balance or really sharp at all. Like they're even you can tell when they're out of balance because the mower will kind of shake in a weird way. But after I've sharpened them with the A200 and with the Mag 100 balancer, that shake goes right away.
That's interesting. Because Aaron said he's been sharpening blades daily.
That's smart. Gotta do that, Aaron. Yeah.
Wow. That'll keep you busy. So that what about that gold blade from what's the update on the Bobcat cut? Oh,
You can report on that, Greg. You've been
it's been cutting
Yeah.
well. I've been really happy with it, and like I said, I just put a new set of blades on it today because I was dumb, and I've been really pleased with the cut that it's been offering, and it's got those high lift blades on it too, and I think that's helping a lot. It's really throwing. It really throws the grass. I mean, it throws three passes. So I've been pretty impressed with that as well. And my 61 inch doesn't throw 3 passes.
does it not?
No. What fixed the issue we were having?
Yeah. What was that?
Was it the transport belt? Or
Drive
the
belt
drive
on
belt?
it
Yeah,
was
the drive
loose?
belt.
Did they say
Yeah,
that?
yeah, it's something like they had to replace the drive belt. And when we replaced the drive belt, it started working fine. Apparently, it was loose or stretched. I'm not
I
sure.
don't know what the drive belt would have to do with anything spindle related, because that's not even. You think they would have replaced the deck belt, right? Because it's cutting weird.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought as well. But they said it was the drive belt, and it's okay.
Wasn't it
Speaking-
something else? Had to have been like something else.
No, I think that was it. That's all they showed.
Wasn't it like a? That's weird that they did that. Because I thought something else was like loose on it.
Hmm. Let me
Because the
see if
drive belt wouldn't affect anything with the blades. That's just like the transmission, or maybe they're not related because how it works. The underside of the engine, you have the crankshaft, and on top of that is the clutch, and then on the bottom of that is the drive pulley. I thought they made something tighter on it. I can't remember because you had mentioned
I'm
something.
looking
Greg.
I'm looking back over the text that I received, trying to find it.
Because it was leaving like a really weird middle line, and I was not pleased with it. But it was shooting the grass pretty far. There was something that they tightened up on it. Aaron says Bradley deck is essentially the same as a Bobcat deck. At least it used to be. Idler pulley is what Cameron thought. Yeah, I thought it was something with the idler. They tightened up something that made, I think, the belt tighter and not as loose. But I didn't really mess around with it when I had it for the first 2 weeks. I only used it for 3 days and got so frustrated with it. I was trying to do all these different things, and then I just decided, okay, Greg, you can take it, and then you confirmed the issue, Greg, and then and only then did he take it up to Wheels and Blades.
Yeah.
I thought it was something with, well, upon diagnosis, I also thought it was something with like one of the pulleys there, but the pictures you've been sending me, it's been cutting fine. Well, at least looks like it.
Yeah, it's been cutting real well. I've been really happy with it. So the only thing that's it disappoints me about it is I don't have a chute blocker. So on a couple of my lawns, I'm not using it just because it's tight, and I'm just going to be blowing grass into their beds. So I can't use it on those lawns. So we'll see. but like today I used it. I used it on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lawns.
Really?
So yeah, and actually, and I used it yesterday too on those 2 cuts I did yesterday. So on my Monday cuts, I can use it quite a bit. This Toro deck would be the idle pulley. They know it's an issue, but they refuse to do a recall on the idle pulley.
Yeah, the idler pulley on the multi-force kind of slaps there a little bit. They had a little soft update about 2 years ago where you can take the idler pulley and there's also another pre-drilled hole where you can angle it so it makes it a tad tighter. But yeah, my belt, it does kind of hit against stuff. I'm really surprised that they're not really trying to fix that, but haven't had any line issues with mine. Just the belt. I replaced the belt on my multi-force, Greg, last year, and this one already has a slit on it. So, and I got that from Mark's Outdoor Power in Northville, and they said it was a OEM blade. Not blade, belt. So you almost want to get like a smidge smaller belt for the multi-force so it won't slap like that. But Toro also claims that that's how they're designed to operate.
It's designed to slap.
Bobcat, your belt, you've never changed that belt, have you?
I have not. And actually, when I had mine in for when I did the clutch, I asked him. I said, "Hey, by the way, how's my belt on that thing?" And because you and I were talking about the belts, and I said, "Hey, by the way, how's the belt?" And he says, "It looks great." So
I
apparently,
still think you should probably change it out though, because that belt has stretch. Because you'll have almost 1,800 hours on it.
yeah, I'm pushing 1,800.
You should probably just put a new belt on it because it would probably cut better because it's that stretch over time and the blade tip speed is not getting up to actual speed. Aaron, my Bradley has over 700 hours and never had to change the deck belt. I thought they traditionally say with deck belts you want to change it around every 800 hours. I'll be the crazy lunatic, Greg, right? We'll do that. Be like, oh, I've changed my deck, my belt 3 times before Greg changes it once, right?
Well, what's funny is when I bought my when I bought that car, that Lexus, you're supposed to change on a Lexus. I bought a used Lexus. It's not like I paid a lot of money for it, guys. I just found a really good deal on it. And but it had 116,000 miles on it, and you're supposed to change the timing belt and water pump at about 90. And I when I was buying it, the guy, I asked him when this last time he changed the timing belt, and he says, "You don't have to change time." I said, "Yeah, you do." And I took it into your guy, Marco. I bought the car, and I said, "Okay, well, $800 to replace the timing belt." So, but I took it into Marco, and I say, "Hey, Marco, how's this belt look?" And he says, "Who was driving this thing?" And I say, "It's an 80-year-old lady." And he says, "That thing looks brand new." So I didn't change it for like another. I didn't change it for about another 90,000 or 80,000 miles. So before I finally changed it.
Well, that was a workhorse car, wasn't it?
Yeah, it still is. It's a great car.
No, you guys have kept that in fine shape. Mozuri, he's asking,
Mozuri,
does a Bobcat only have one belt? The older Toro mowers had one belt that powered the mower and blades. I don't.
Yeah, it's just got one belt.
Yeah, it's just one. I mean, my Cub Cadet, it might actually have 2 belts on there because there's top pulleys. There's a 2-tier kind of idler pulley system on there, and apparently it's a pain in the butt to change that belt because Cub Cadet did something kind of funky with it where you have to. What do they say?
That was the guy.
Tyler Burdick Street. What?
Yeah.
What did Tyler say that how Cub Cadet designed that model? It was a 2020 Pro X660 series. I bought one of those. It's impossible to take something off, Greg. Didn't he basically say that?
Yeah, he said it's ridiculous the way they set it up. And he said you should sell it. He said sell it before you change the belt.
I should take that Cub Cadet down to the expo. We should do a Turf Nerds raffle and giveaway. No,
Yeah.
I'm not that. I don't have that much expendable income, and I do need a backup mower. Looking back at it, I should probably get a backup Toro HDX. I'd want one with the Vanguard, 37 horsepower. That's what I would get, but I am not in any sort of market, Greg. I mean, we talked about this. I'm not buying a new mower ever again unless somehow one fell into our hands. Oh, no. not in the market to buy new, and I don't even like buying used mowers because I don't trust the guys selling them unless I knew them. Like, like Greg, like, you bought the walk behind from me, and like those, like you knew that I'd beat it to death. Guys on Facebook, cannot trust them when they sell used equipment. Like Raleigh Spencer had a Wright mower. It had 70 hours on it, Greg. It was all beat in the front. I said, that doesn't look like it's had 70 hours on it. It has a whole lot more. Oh, yeah. Derek just said the Multiforce needs better reverse speed. I actually reached out to Jeff Jones from Toro and asked him about that. And you can actually adjust the reverse speed. You can make the reverse speed faster, but it'll make the forward speed slower. So I don't know how the hydro system works on that, but that's what he told me. He basically said it's designed a certain way where if you adjust one of the speeds and the other follows, it's like
offset
in tandem. Yeah. Because like your Bobcat, Greg, that thing flies going forward and flies going back.
It's not as fast going back, but it moves along pretty well. So, but that 52 feels like it's faster, although it's probably the same speed. I should, if they still have that thing up on that one street, if they still have that radar gun sitting there, I'll have to pull the 52 out and see how fast that one goes.
Well, that 52 is leaps and bounds faster than my Multiforce. I think I should really probably replace the throttle cable on my Multiforce. That is probably stretched out over almost 2,300 hours, but I've been slowly dialing up the governor on it because now it's screaming. It sounds great like it used to. And then I kind of like how the Bobcat, Greg, how your throttle, it doesn't slip. Mine doesn't slip on the Multiforce, but Toro set this up where you can't really tighten the throttle lever, but they have a trick where you can actually drill a hole, like a pilot hole through, like you take apart the throttle and the handle and everything, and you can drill a hole in there and then put like a nut and a bolt through and kind of create your own tension system on the throttle cable. But I think I'm going to probably eventually just replace the throttle cable, even though I don't want to.
You've got it's a lever, not a dial. Mine's a dial.
I kind of like the dial. Like mine slips like slightly here and there, but it stays consistent. And Toro had it set where it's like what's it called? A grommet? Is that what it's called?
A grommet's like a little hole, like a steel. You'd see a grommet. You would see on a tarp. The little holes.
It's like
those are grommets.
I'm drawing a blank on what it's called. I'll have to look at it. It's basically like you can't tighten it, so you drill out what's in there, and then you put like a bolt and a screw in it. That's what I might try to do.
Okay.
Yeah, really.
It makes. Why is that flashing on?
Oh, sorry. That I was hitting that. It's because I'm hitting the my stupid wrist is hitting the enter button. And it's making it remove.
Okay. Cameron, he says that makes sense on the drive belt on the Bobcat. Then if it only runs one belt, it'll slip a lot when it gets stretched out. So, and for whatever reason, we may have just had a bad belt on that. So here's interesting. You remember I told you I saw that story about that guy that commented how many hours your mower will last based on
that myth. Yeah.
Is it a myth or? Let's hear what our friends in Missouri and we still got Derek and Ryan on.
Metro's got mowers that have like 5,000 hours and they still run. But what was the summary on that, Greg? Like it was some basic math, correct?
Yeah, it was basic math. The guy said if you've got a mower with 26 horsepower mower and you want to know how long it's going to last, multiply it by 100. If you got 2,600 hours. And your mower should be done, and it's going to start nickel and diming you. And so I'm curious. Some of these guys on here have had some experience. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that do you think that your mower, if you have a 26 horsepower mower, do you think your mower's done at 2,600 hours? Does that make sense?
That I don't know. Like the video was so short and in your face. It was just some basic math that he did. I've had mowers. My Riders, an Exmark Rider, that was, I think the first one I sold was approaching 3,000. But I know Metro. I don't know if Derek's still watching. They they got some riders that they cut great, but I think they're well into the 3,000, 4,000 hour range. I think maybe they had to replace an engine on like one of the mowers, but they're still running. But the deal is, how these dealers kind of take some things in, Greg, at least when I was talking to Schlebaugh, they kind of urge the guys, oh, hey, run the mowers up to about 1,500 hours and then just trade it in and then put yourself there in a new one. Cameron says, I've heard that before. Nowadays, you can't count on anything engine. The mower itself should hold up. Yeah, I mean, basically, I've been sucking premium gas in it and changing the oil change. I'm going to get that multi-force to 4,000 hours.
Yeah.
Watch it blow up tomorrow, Greg.
You know what I found? You know what happened? I was changing the oil on the 52, and because it's the same engine as on my 61, right?
Yeah.
So I'm changing the oil. I said, okay, I've got some filters for my 61. I'll just pop one of those on there. It's a different filter.
Oh, it should be the same.
It
right?
was it was different.
Oh yeah, that's an OEM filter, like from the factory. Like mine was different too. Like from the factory, all of them they have their own first break-in. That was probably a break-in filter that was on there or something like that. And then you can just start putting you can put the filters that you put on your 61 on the 52. No problem.
The one on the 61 is a smaller filter than circumference than the 52.
Yeah, but the threads are the same. That filter is just from the factory. That's just a break-in filter. Probably it's probably bigger to have things, I guess, break in more. Missouri. I've had four engines blow up.
Wow, what the heck did you do to those?
And Cameron doesn't beat the. I mean, aside from cutting tall grass, what about you? I don't know if Aaron's still watching. Any of your mowers, Aaron, blow up? I don't think. I mean, I've known Aaron for a couple years now, but I don't think he's ever complained about an engine blowing up. He just didn't like his multi-force and got a Bradley, which the Bradleys are really nice.
Yeah, fortunately, I thought I blew it, but it wasn't. It was just the clutch. So I've got that going for me.
That was funny, Greg, when you sent me that text. You're like,
"Hello, this is Greg.
I think my Bobcat's done." I'm like, "No way." I said, "Check the air filter. It was kind of dirty, but." And then they were trying to pull your string about that, right? That was a pretty funny story. You're like, "Oh, it apparently took them a while to get that clutch off." Aaron says, "No engine problems."
Yeah.
So Sutter's in the driver's seat there. He picked up I know he's been picking up some more lawns out there.
Oh, good.
He's kind of in the sticks now, and he's been advertising. So I'd kind of get jealous of Cameron and Aaron Greg. They kind of try, mowing some acreage. It would almost be nice because you're farther away from people, like even more at a distance, and that's where I can really just get into a trance and lollygag. It'd be kind of fun, to mow acreage, and all the acreage pricing there is pretty different, isn't it?
I imagine
what I've read.
It depends on where you are, and if you're in a lower income. I was listening to Raleigh Spencer today, and he had Dan White on and Daniel White on, and they were talking about the areas that they serve and the fact that they just don't have. Which one of them said they were in the one of the poorest counties in the country?
That's Raleigh Spencer.
It's Raleigh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And but we've got that up in Michigan. Clare County is the poorest county,
really?
and my understanding, Clare County is supposedly the poorest county in Michigan, but I don't know how it ranks compared to Raleigh's, but yeah, some of those lawns you don't get. Like I had a phone call today. Lady said, I've got 3/4 of an acre, and she was complaining that her guy that was paying $50, she was paying him $50. She said, well, he's not doing a very good job. And I said, because you've got 3/4 of an acre, I'd be charging you $75. But I don't know what Raleigh, I don't think Raleigh could charge that, or some of these guys, or Daniel, I don't know what they could charge for an acre, but a lot of guys, $100 an acre. So
it was back in the day. You could do $40 an acre. Now it's 80. I think it's $100 now. Hands down, $100 an acre. Some here for median income. There's a lot of money made in mowing if you do it right. That's what would bother me. It's like you kind of got to go with the trend and where the market is. And I get people that can afford that, but I guess you could route density acreage I mean, if we had to apply our principles, Greg, too,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really mow for poor people. I have a couple of delinquent payers here and there. It's far less, except that this one lady finally caught up on her bill today. But yeah, that's probably in it. I was kind of, because I was talking to Raleigh about this, and it's like I told him, I said, he can kind of go bi-weekly on some. I'm like, you stick these guys weekly until you have to go bi-weekly, and unless it's like baked, it's like you're cutting weeds. Weeds grow all the time.
Yeah. And yeah, they were saying that that's one of the issues there that they have is it's bi-weekly. I'm curious what Cameron was saying though, if you can make it if you do it right. So how are you doing it right, Cameron? Is that what Evan was just talking about, route density, or what? I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Aaron says not many can afford $100 an acre. I have a couple lawns that I would have to charge $500 a cut if that was the case. I mean, $500 a cut, yeah, that'd be nice. Like that's kind of like the dilemma. I get that situation, Aaron, of like where you put in there. So what do you do to make it fair? And because he's trying to get his name spread out though too. So yeah, I could see like even bumping that down to $50 to $80 an acre, just depending on, because if it's just acreage, Greg, and you're not doing much trimming,
Right.
you could probably do a little bit better of a, I hate saying it, more inexpensive rate, but you're still
Yeah.
making money. I mean, sure, I could probably cut 5 acres for $50 an acre if there's like literally no trimming. It's just one pass. Then that's where I'd make the money back. But fine, I'm just giving you one pass, zip out of there.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Biggest lawn I ever
Very
Greg.
little trimming.
Biggest lawn I think I ever had, Greg, was that. Remember that, as we talked about in a couple live streams previous, that White House that had that putting green. That was maybe
Yep.
the biggest lawn ever that I had. But then I think the second one was my parents. So you cut far bigger lawns than I do.
Yeah, I think your parents is the average lawn I cut.
Oh yeah.
So, I was actually thinking about somebody who was one time said, "Oh, I've got as much cutting experience as you," and I'm thinking, and I went, "Huh, okay. So you cut your lawn once a week. Let's make it easy and say it's 30 weeks."
Hey Greg, where'd you learn how to cut?
Oh, I learned to cut at the Country Club of Lansing.
I used to work at the Country Club of Lansing when I was in college.
Sorry, I had to do that, Greg. Yeah, like people try to challenge you though. Oh, I can do what you're doing.
Yeah, but it was funny though because they said, "Well, I've got as much experience as you," and I said, "Well, all right, wait a minute. If you cut once a week, and let's say you cut a lot that year, you cut 30 weeks. I'm cutting roughly 60 lawns a week. So you have to cut for 2 years before you
Yeah.
cut the same number of lawns that I cut. And on top of that, you'd have to cut for 600 years because if you think about it, I'm cutting 1,800 lawns a year, and you're cutting 30 if you did that many times. So you'd have to divide that into 1,800. You'd have to cut for 600 years before you cut as many lawns as I did.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
You need a top of the line equipment, very little trimming, and find a handful of people that will pay you what you're worth. Don't have to worry about the route density when cutting acreage. That's true. I think this upcoming year, Greg, even the following, I think I know what clients are. I can pick the clients who they'll pay anything and clients who won't, because I can take my 95 lawns, Greg, maybe dwindle that down to what? 80, 70, and shape that more. Then maybe do some other. I mean, we've kicked around ideas, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, what Cameron just said though, was really interesting though, because if you have to do very little trimming, but it's the same thing as instead of route density, you're just cutting acreage. So
Yeah.
you know, if you're cutting 5 acres, that's like, you know, if you got 1 acre lawns, that's 5 lawns you just technically cut, and you didn't move your truck. So that's the advantage of that. So there's an advantage for you there
I'd like to
being
give it a
able to do
shot.
that way.
I
Yeah.
really, the sticks would be nice to try to get into, but what am I going to do is I'm not going to start targeting bigger lawns though, Greg. I mean, I think we're at that sweet spot. I can cut 3 lawns and make $800.
Wow.
I can't cut. Okay, if I cut 3, I'm making 120, 130, or
Yeah.
you know, I'm just doing like 120 to 140, you know, depending on the.
But
Yeah,
how's
3
the-
lawns make 800, but he could be out there, you know, double that time. But it's still probably better.
Yeah,
Would
that
you
was
argue
my
it's probably
that
a-
was my question for him. How long does it take him to cut those 3 lawns versus your 3 lawns take you, you know, because yours are, you know, take you 6 minutes to cut 3 lawns.
Postage.
Yours are
Yeah,
so
there's-
small.
You think the profit margins, Greg, could be better on some of those acreage I guess maybe because you're just sitting, that's tough. I don't know many aside from Cameron and probably Aaron's broken into it. You don't see a lot of guys aside from Missouri. I don't know any other ones here in the industry who cut big acreage. So, and I would,
Raleigh's cutting some big acreage.
he is, oh yeah, he's
Raleigh
cutting
and I
some
think
berms.
Daniel is cutting some big stuff.
Dan White was too. My Derek, who was on earlier, he was talking about he had a buddy that was cutting a cemetery. You can get like 80 grand for those. He said he'd like
80
just as,
grand? 80?
yeah, like just as like cemetery cuts. It's
Wow.
all kind of baked in. And say you cut 2 cemeteries, man, that could be your whole entire year just plugging
Yeah.
away at that. I mean, I cut in these 2 neighborhoods. They're both HOAs, Greg, and I've told you they've offered me multiple times to cut their commons area, and that's acreage. I just told them no, drop dead. I said nope. You guys want to do it biweekly and you make it look like crap? Nope.
Oh, is
Not
that they
doing
want
that.
bi-weekly?
Yeah, like Green Hill Woods. Remember when we did that cleanup
Yep.
with Zach in there like years ago with all the those cat house like leaves? I mean, you've been through those
Yeah.
lawns, but there's 2 different. It's Green Hill Woods and 1 and 2, but there's 2 different associations in there. It's not the same commons areas. Like there's like, and they're cheap. They're real cheap. It's too bad.
Associations don't want to pay it, and I'm more than happy to not mow them. So I've never even approached my neighborhood about mowing because if I recall, I heard what they were paying, and I'm thinking, that's not worth it.
I mean, could you
So-
try almost because they bump the HOA fees up there every year. Cemeteries are a ton of trimming, a ton of work, not really worth it. Yeah. What I would do if I ran a cemetery grid like that, yeah, sure, it's a ton of trimming, but if you did like a nice scalp job, you might be able to get away with only having to cut, like, say you cut it bi-weekly, you could trim it like once a month. Like I would try to find balance that. I mean, I don't know if anyone watches live after, but if we know anyone who cuts cemeteries, but yeah, yet again, Greg, we've driven by cemeteries, seeing all those tombstones with grass there, that would drive me nuts.
I just don't think that I would like to do a cemetery. It just seems like a lot of work, and seems like you'd want to have a bunch of people with you, just because of all that trimming, and just wouldn't be that much fun. And okay, what's he saying?
You cut 20 lawns per day and waste a little as 5 minutes. Yep, Cameron's right with that. I've done that. That is 100 minutes wasted. Drive time, going back to the truck, trimmer, edger, blower. You don't have that wasted time on bigger lawns. And then Aaron got to deal with all the fake flowers and flags. Yeah.
Well, flags, that's a huge deal. Remember
Oh, yeah.
when we've been trying to cut your lawns when they were putting the fiber optic stuff in.
That was torture, wasn't it, Greg? You were like, this is like, they did all the 4 neighborhoods, or sorry, 2, or technically 3, because I mowed 1 in this. All 3 neighborhoods were having fiber optics, AT&T shoved in there, and they had flags everywhere. But this is good. If you cut 20 lawns a day, so I can do that if I get my lazy butt out of bed, and then so you just mess around each minute per lawn, like even 2 minutes. That is even 60 minutes. It's like, well, drive time going back and forth, a truck.
Yeah.
That's, man, you could almost do like a fine mix of like route dense and then acreage.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to set that up where you have one day be like the acreage day where you mow 5 lawns. And then the next day you just knock out like 25, 30 lawns. I mean, I don't know.
I had an opportunity to quote to do some soccer fields, and I quoted, and I can't remember. Man, I want to say it was 5 acres.
Yeah.
6 acres. I can't remember.
Because you kind of asked me for numbers, and then we asked on the Facebook pages to get some like ideas, right?
Yeah, and I was obviously high because I didn't get the job, and I should go back and kind of look at it again. But I think I quoted about 450, 500, something like that, and I can't remember what he thought. He thought it was a little bit high, but no trimming. It would have just been cutting, and they would have moved the goals for me, and they would have had those kind of off to the side. But I should go back and ask the guy, because he's one of how I got it was he's one of my current clients, and he had some deal going on with the city in terms of doing that work. So I should go back and ask him again. But that would have taken me it would taken me a few hours to get it done. So a lot of standing for that time period. But
Would have been easy if you didn't have to trim. So
yeah, but you figure what, 20 minutes an acre, 6 acres. So that would be 120 2 hours. So
it amazes me how these schools can land guys to come. They can land guys to come cut the grass. How they don't value themselves in there. I guess that's just how it works, right? There's a lot of low ball work to me out there, and they found the right step up from the chuck in the truck to do it. That's where it's like, don't you guys care about quality? I guess not. It's lawn care. We're getting a bad rap, but it is what it is. There's bad eggs in every line of work.
yeah, the thing is about that about the soccer fields though is you would have to cut it. You'd probably have to cut it on a Thursday, and if you got rained out, then you'd have to do it on the Friday because they're doing all their games on Saturdays and Sundays. So you have to time it out because you can't cut it on Monday because it's going to be too long.
Yeah.
They're going to be complaining about the length of the grass. So, and I do all my commercials on Monday. So, because the commercials, I figure people, for the commercial, they want it to look good for the week, and the residentials, they want it to look better on the weekends. So, do all my commercials on the weekday or on Mondays, and then slowly get stuff out. Then I got the client that says, "Oh, can you cut me on Thursday?" And I'm not even in your area on Thursday, or so I've
That's a
had a
whole
couple of
different
people
ball.
asking me to change my
Hey.
days.
Did you change my days? So can you come and cut on this day? And then I tell some people I'm there when I'm there. Most people, 9 times out of 10, don't care.
Yeah,
They really don't. But
no. I've had a couple of people have asked me to cut on a different day or to cut it on a if I can adjust it, I will, but that's at the beginning of the season, and pretty much. And the one that wanted me to cut on Thursday, I said I'm not even close to your home on Thursdays, so no, I'm sorry, I can't change my day. So
all right, Greg, I'm getting tired. Let's
Yeah.
leave some of the people with some music. Hopefully this isn't too loud, but if anyone can tell me what this song is from this game, I'll buy you lunch. I don't think I'll get this one.